Black Giraffe made this.
Welcome to After Playlist Rewind, our special mini-series showcasing some of our favorite playlists and episodes that we have done thus far. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Lee.
And I am Terry O.
And today we're rewinding back to episode number 34, aka The Black Women of 90's Dance Music. And what an episode that was.
That was more fun than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Like, I didn't know what we were going to do going into it. I had an idea, but that playlist seems to be one of the fan favorites I'm noticing.
Rightfully so. I mean, it's got bops that have definitely stood the test of time and have stood my personal test of time since listening to it's like having the playlist. Several of those songs will still come up and I'll definitely listen to them.
Yeah, I'm still finding even more artists that are like or sung/unsung during that era. So it's just, yeah, it's such a good time. It's a full on vibe. So definitely worth getting your dance on one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy this After Playlist Rewind episode while we're on our break as we continue our quest for new music. Everybody dance now. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pump up the jam. Pump it up.
Pump. This is so stupid. But yeah, so that's a show I grew up on, and it was just funny to me. Funny was funny. Welcome to After Playlist, the music discussion and reaction podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Terry O.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
So, June is also African American Music Appreciation Month, aka Black Music Month, when we honor Black musicians and raise awareness for Black music culture and its impact on music culture in general. So, we previously did an episode on disco music, which, is also kind of tied in with pride, self-love, and expression. And we're going to continue that same vibe with a bunch of dance songs from the late 1900s, aka the 90s, that were performed by Black women.
Yeah, we're going to be referring to a bunch of 90s dance songs from the playlist throughout the episode. So to ensure that everyone is familiar, let me just run through the track list and introduce the songs that will be featured on today's episode. So we have, starting at the top, we have Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now, by CeCe Music Factory featuring Freedom Williams. Then we have Everybody by Black Box. The Rhythm of the Night, Corona. Then Mr. Vane, Culture Beat. Pump Up the Jam, Technotronic. Show Me Love, Robin S. Gypsy Woman, She's Homeless. La Da Dee La Da Da by Crystal Waters. Finally, by CeCe Peniston, Just a Touch of Love, Every Day by the CeCe Music Company featuring Zelma Davis. Then we have The Power by Snap. It Feels So Good by Sonique. Be My Lover. Is it LaBouche?
I pronounce it LaBouche, but I don't know.
LaBouche. Sure. It's fun to say. LaBouche.
Yeah, LaBouche.
So we have, Be My Lover by LaBouche. Then Sweet Dreams by LaBouche. Good Life by Inner City, 100% Pure Love by Crystal Waters, and we're ending the playlist with Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap. So if you haven't already listened to the songs we're about to discuss and that I just outlined, there's a link in the description, aka the show notes of this episode, for the direct links to the playlist for your listening pleasure. But of course, before we dive into the actual episode, we have our customary after playlist disclaimers. Number one, first and foremost, we respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how wrong and awful it may be. Number two, this playlist requires high-quality bass speakers and the capacity to uncontrollably for hours.
Hell,
potentially. Number three, we're not too bad with profanity, but sometimes a few explicit words may slip out occasionally, so you've been warned. However, the playlist for this week's episode is very safe for work, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, we're just talking about the music, not the artist, real life, personal, or cancelable issues. So just focusing on the music. And I guess we'll also be talking about the culture around the music, I think maybe a little bit with the episode's theme today. And finally, if you're enjoying the podcast, be sure to give us a like and leave a comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It costs you nothing, and it's the easiest way for you to support the show.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. All right. So the inspiration behind this episode was actually off of an Instagram post that I saw. I was happening to going through my feed, and I saw someone had a reels or video thing or whatever that popped up, and it just kind of just showcased like, hey, did you know these popular songs were sung by Black women? And I honestly did. Like a lot of the songs that were on this playlist, I recently like kind of
totally surprised me. At least half of the playlist. I was shocked that it was on this.
Exactly. So it's like songs I've heard like billions of times at this point. And I was just truly fascinated. Like I was like, oh wow, like some of them I knew for sure just by the voice alone. But then some of the other ones I was just like, oh, that's a Black chick? Okay. So I thought that was quite interesting. In doing so, preparing for this episode, we can go a lot of places with this. So before I take us on the journey, there's a few points that I want to hit first and foremost. But before we get into it, I really wanted to know, how did you feel, Brandon, hearing some of these songs possibly for the first time, or maybe the 40th time? I don't even know. But I just kind of because like, okay, a little peek behind the curtain, y'all. You know, it is Black History Music Month. So in my original plan was to like actually do like a deep dive into Black music history. But that was like, okay, this will be kind of a snore fest. But also I really didn't want to be like, oh, slavery and go through the back door entrance again and separate water fountains. Like, we know the story. We want to go through all that shit again. So I wanted to kind of keep the mood light. And then we just did a disco episode. So literally, I will say this, playing the disco playlist and then jumping right into this one, you talking about a good time? Man.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's like 3 hours of just having a good ass time with or without people. It's crazy.
I was having, it was like alternating back and forth, like at work or just throughout the day, which song would be playing in my head. I'm not even listening to music. And they would literally, 1 minute it'd be On the Radio by Donna Sumner. And then like the next, it's like, I got the power. It's like, it's just, man. Yeah, it's a good time. It's our last two playlists are all about good times and feeling good and dancing, which embodies that. I feel like it's the movement of having a good time.
It is the movement of having a good time or having a volunteer seizure. I don't know. Either way, it's just like my body starts like pulsating and doing things that I don't think should be done in public. But again, if I'm vibing, having a good time, and you just happen to see it, just mind your business and just either join in with me or just leave it be.
So to answer your question, though, several of these songs I've only ever heard, I think, unless I'm mistaken, I've only ever heard like snippets of them or like parts of them used in like, movies or TV shows or maybe even commercials. So like, I've heard like the chorus. I've never just sat down and listened to like everybody dance now. But of course, as soon as that like I know that part, like everyone knows that part. And like several of the songs on here are just ubiquitous in pop culture at this point. They've been used so much in so many different varied places that like if you haven't heard them, you've literally been living in the middle of the forest under a rock, out of touch with the rest of society for the last 40 years, 30 years. I can't count.
Yeah.
So it was definitely interesting to like hear the full song for several of these.
So let's put an asterisk next to that. I intentionally chose the shortest version of these songs. So
thank you for that. I did actually go. Yeah, because I mean, several of these are, again, this is 90s dance music. So there are like long songs meant to be played for people dancing at a party or in a club or something like that. So like that's the intent. So it makes sense. But yeah, whenever you're just like listening like at home in an office chair at your desk with an earbud in, it's like not, you don't want necessarily 8 minutes every single song of sing.
Exactly.
I will say I did have a moment where just I struggled a little bit because I really like subconsciously on accident was going into this, even knowing like it's literally in the title of the playlist, like 90s dance.
Mm-hmm.
I should not have expected deep lyrics, but I still went in with my lyric brain turned on, and it was like I was frustrated for like the first day and a half of just like, man, I can't. There's no like words for me to like stick my teeth into it. So I mean, but then like by like later on day 2, I was just like, okay, like y'all can't see me, but I'm like nodding my head, and then it just slowly like as I kept listening, I'm just like. It gets like in your bones, man. You just start vibing to it. Like I was literally just like just at least nodding my head back and forth like Will Ferrell from whatever movie that's from the 90s.
What's that? Saturday Night Fever or something, or Saturday Night whatever.
Not at the
Roxbury.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
The whole like just
like that was literally me. Most of the time I was listening to this like at least.
Definitely that. And honestly, going into this, like after we did the pivot to, showcasing, I was like, oh, okay, we did a Pride disco thing. Let's keep the party going with dance, and Black women basically contribute a lot to Pride culture and gay culture in general. So it was like a marriage of the two, blending those two, the Black History thing and continuing the Pride celebration during the month of June. So I was like, okay, this is a nice little happy marriage between the two. There is so many different, like, there's so much I want to talk about, and I'm going to try not to overload people with the stories. But the first song I want to talk about right off the bat is the first song on the playlist, "Make You Sweat." Like that is like the quintessential. Do you think 90s dance or Euro dance? You hear everybody dance now. Like that vibe, you just it's like everybody's anthem. Like if you can physically sit still when that song comes on, that means you're dead inside. Like there is no way you can not dance.
You hate fun.
You hate fun. You hate everybody around you. You are Squidward.
That or someone literally just like peed in your milk or something.
Literally that. And even then, like I still would throw it on the ground and like still dance to it. Like let's
That's
go.
True.
So, but that song actually changed the music industry entirely. Both commercially, but also legally, and set precedent. Are you familiar with the story of this song at all by chance?
I wasn't even familiar with who the artist was. CNC Music Company.
Yes.
Was not familiar at all with them until this playlist.
Okay.
Like, I mean, obviously I was familiar with their music because like, again, this song and several others, after looking into them a little bit, just because I was like, CNC Music Company, I like looked them up a little bit. Several of their songs are kind of ubiquitous and were like mega hits, just like Everybody Dance Now was. But yeah, I wasn't even familiar with, so I'm definitely not familiar with the story. I wasn't familiar with the group.
Okay. So for those who are not familiar with the group, so CNC Music Factory, the producers behind
I was saying Company Factory.
Yeah, same thing. Company Factory, whatever. Same shit. So basically, all right. So during the late 1900s, aka the 90s, a lot of the dance groups it was producers first, featuring either rotating lead vocalists, or they had like a rotating set of singers that they work with. But it was typically like the producers first, and then featuring whoever. So this time frame definitely how do I want to say this? I had an awakening. Apparently, I was born in a round country. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know how a lot of my music taste seems to be very European centric. I did not know that. And then I was a youth in the 90s. This period of dance was also referred to as Euro dance. A lot of these songs that featured Black women were Black women from Italy and Germany and other parts of Europe. And Belgium. Just like not even like 100% American women. And then the whole sound, like a lot of that, as people were cultivated from people who were coming back and forth between Europe and then the States. And then that's like when hip hop was emerging, and they kind of started throwing that Euro dance blend of like rap, techno, um, post disco era, and even throwing rap in there, and then throwing like powerful, rich vocals on top of it. So it was the music gumbo of my youth, essentially. So, and listening to this playlist, like I have so many fond memories of like, school parties and things of that nature, and like just basically having fun a lot of times. And looking into the artists and everything, it just really just definitely set a precedent for me. So jumping back to CNC, they were based in New York, actually, I believe. The woman who was singing on that song is a woman named Martha Wash. Also, the woman that sung It's Raining Men, the Weather Girls.
Oh,
So,
okay.
that's why I had you listen to that song, because it's so campy and over the top. It's just ridiculous on so many different
Dude,
levels.
The music video alone is so quintessentially wholly encompassing of the 90s.
It's
From the
so-
bad green screen to just like, oh man, just like the music video with the like bad lighting. It's just like everything about it. It was like, so like if you grew up in the 90s and you watched like MTV, like music videos like of that era, like yeah.
So the funny thing about the Weather Girls was their original name was 2 Tons of Fun. So it was Martha Wash, and then the other singer, her name was Isola. R.I.P. to her, but Martha is still here, but Isola passed. So you got these 2 heavyset black women that were singing background, and then eventually went solo and called themselves 2 Tons of Fun, and then eventually called themselves the Weather Girls after this stupid song that neither one of them wanted to do. And apparently that song was shopped to people like Barbara Streisand, Cher,
So okay, so
Celine Dion.
They
really
picked the name Weather Girls because of It's Raining Men.
They end up changing their name because of the intro of It's Raining Men. Because in the beginning of the song, they're like, "Hi, we're your Weather Girls." So people are like, "Oh, so you guys are the Weather Girls."
That's another one of those songs I'd heard just basically all over the place my whole life. I didn't know who the artist was. So whenever you like sent me that, it wasn't on the actual, that was like some supplementary listening you sent me. But whenever I saw that it was by the Weather Girls, I was like, no way.
Yeah. 1,000%.
No way. That makes more sense if like they changed it to that because that was like easily their biggest hit of all time, right? Like they never had anything close to that success.
Yeah, definitely no close to that kind of success at all. So I didn't know that It's Raining Men was a real song. The first time I heard the song was on the show that basically cultivated my entire childhood, In Living Color, where they had a skit on there called Men on Film, and they had the song It's Raining Men playing for the intro of the skit. I'll probably send you some clips from that show. I'm sorry. I grew up on In Living Color, South Park, Family Guy, old school Family Guy. Problematic humor, 100%, could not be played now. But I laugh my ass off like every time I think about it. Even like Mad TV, like 30 something years later, I'm still cracking up. I'm like, God, like they're way better than SNL. Anyway, sorry, rambling. So getting back to the whole Weathers Girls CNC factory. So Martha Wash is the woman that's singing "Everybody Dance Now." That's her. That's her vocals.
Okay.
The thing is, Martha Wash is a light-skinned, heavyset black woman. The music video comes out. It is a skinny, dark-skinned model. So, CNC Music Factory used her vocals and then use another model and actress to portray her vocals and was lip syncing her vocals. So Martha went out of her way and basically sued the entire music industry because what she was doing during that time was doing demos and references for other artists. So in the music industry, for those who are unaware, you have demos, which is just like, okay, this is not the final version of the song, but it's kind of how it's supposed to go. For vocalists, like, okay, or songwriters, so like, okay, here's a song. This is how you should sing it. They use that as what they like to call it as a reference track. And then the actual artists will go and basically do their rendition of that song, but they'll just have like a reference track of like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be sung or whatever. Those recordings, the demos, the reference tracks, all of those things were meant to stay internal. They weren't really meant to be actual on the final recording. So when Martha Wash, for these different producers and different gigs that she would take, she would do these different reference tracks for these different EDM groups back in the day, and they loved her vocal so much that they just said, "Oh, we're just gonna use this. Like we don't need somebody else to do it. We like what you're doing." But the thing is, though, they didn't credit her, and they never paid her. So she had to fight for that right to do that. And after she sued so many different record labels, she ended up getting all her credit. She sued them for fraud, deceptive packaging, and so forth. Another thing on this playlist, the next song after that one, Everybody by Black Box, did the same thing. That's also Martha Wash. So
okay.
So because I like both of those songs, but then I was just like, this sound, I mean, kind of a sound similar, but not. I was like, oh, is this the same person? And I was like, huh. And I did research on it, and yeah, Black Boss did the same shit. Stole Martha's, vocals, and just like, okay, I'm just gonna throw this on there. So during this time in the 90s, there was a lot of this going on. So in going through this whole track list, when I wanted to highlight the Black woman that actually sung the song, it was a lot of Milli Vanilli going on, which is why I had you listen to Milli Vanilli. Were you familiar with them at all? I'm
familiar with Milli Vanilli, but I can't remember the actual story that happened with them, but I'm familiar with the name and that there was some big hoopla about them back in the day.
So Milli Vanilli were these I don't even know, I want to say Trinidadian or something, but don't shoot me for the wrong location, but island centric pretty boys that were singing R&B songs or whatever. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you. Like them. So that wasn't them singing. They lip sunk that all the way through their entire success. That song was actually done by a heavyset Black guy and a guy who wanted to sing, who was much older, but didn't want to be in the spotlight anymore. But he liked making music. So the record label came to him, was like, okay, we want you to sing for these tracks for these artists, but you can't speak anything about it. Matter of fact, they can't even see you in the studio. So they'll have studio sessions. He'll be in the basement, and Milli Vanilli will be on the third or fourth floor or whatever. And they're basically recording the same song, but they would use his vocals and not Milli Vanilli's. So what happened?
Didn't that come out whenever at a live show, whenever the track cut out or something?
Yes. Back in the day when they had CDs. CDs are a round, circular, flat disc.
Stands for compact disc. Because
disc.
Before that, the discs were massive.
But yeah, so they were performing live, and they had their live with quotations, whatever, lip syncing and dancing around or whatever, and then the CD skipped. So it's like, girl, you know, it's girl, you know, it's girl, you know, it's
That's
girl.
What it was.
And they just had to kind of just be like, what? That moment famously happened again with Ashley Simpson on Saturday Night Live, but she was so-called singing live on Saturday Night Live, and her CD.
Didn't she claim that she had bronchitis or something is why she did it? I remember that happening too. She was like, I got strep or something like that.
It was something, but
But then obviously everyone was like, no. You cancel the show in that case.
Thank you.
You don't do what you did.
Yeah, you don't just sit there and get paid to do whatever. And then also, lip syncing is a common practice, but getting caught is stupid. So
yeah.
So that's kind of on you for that.
If you're gonna cheat, be good at it. That's what I was always told.
Exactly. So the first, let me make sure. The first 3 songs on this playlist were not sung by the person that they were credited. So Make You Sweat, they had model turned singer Zelma Davis in the video. And having her lip syncing Martha Wash's vocals. Then in Black Box, they had another model named Katrina Quinal.
Are you getting Gonna Make You Sweat and Just a Touch of Love mixed up? Because Just a Touch of Love has Zelma Davis.
Oddly enough, Just a Touch of Love, that is really Zelma Davis singing. So that was really Zelma Davis.
Well, then who's Freedom Williams? That's the other person credited on Make You Sweat. Everybody Dance Now.
Yes. So Freedom Williams is the knockoff Ice-T rapper in the song.
Got you.
And to this day, CeCe and Martha, they won't even discuss the whole Martha Wash thing. They just got so bombastic about it. Any kind of interview that they try to reach to them for comment, they're like, no comment. They won't acknowledge that they fucked up like that. But I just
It's
found
probably smart.
it's smart, but it's also like, okay, you got caught and
It's also scummy.
you can't get mad that you got caught. So, but yeah, so that song, Make You Sweat, came out in 1990. Also, Everybody by Black Box also came out in 1990. And then Rhythm of the Night by Corona, that the woman who actually sung that was an Italian black lady named Jenny B. And the person that was lip syncing it, her name was Olga. So, and Olga is the black lady that's the face of Corona, but that wasn't her singing that song at all. That was Jenny B that was singing that song. And you can see, like, there's clips of the difference of Olga singing it live and Jenny B singing it live. It is ear shattering, to say the least.
Oh no,
it is so bad. So, but yeah. So before I continue going down this diatribe of the different songs and little Easter eggs with these different songs, of these songs, which ones were your favorite? Which ones you felt some kind of way about? I know there's one song in particular that I'm very curious about. With you being a lyrics person, but I'm curious to think which one you.
I didn't have any. I'll go ahead and tell you. I'm not 100% sure which song you're talking about, but I didn't have any deep lyrical like light bulb moments or anything with any of these.
Really?
My favorite song was probably "Gypsy Woman." She's homeless.
Literally, that's the one song we're talking about.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yes,
okay,
like,
but I did. But okay, wait. I did not. It's not my favorite, surprisingly, at all for the lyrics.
What?
Literally, it's just the beat.
What?
Dude, as soon as okay. Wow. I already know. Mild spoiler for you. You probably thought you were going to get me with this one with the TI sample of it.
Possibly, yeah.
But I already knew it before you had even sent the supplementary, because this is the only song on this entire playlist where as soon as it came on and that, like, just before I don't even know what instrument it is, whatever, it's just the beat. Immediately I was like, oh, someone's rapped over this. That's all I had. I went to like, what is it, who sampled or whatever, and I looked it up and I was like, yeah, someone's rapped over this. And I saw like TI, whatever that song is, like right at the top. So whenever you had sent me the supplementary, a few extra songs to listen to, I was like, yep, I know where that one's from, because it's the only song on this list that who sampled. I mean, some other good ones was like "Power" by Snap. Both Snap songs, "Rhythm as a Dancer" is good as well. The CeCe Peniston song "Finally" was good. Was a little bit more. I feel like kind of had some more emotion than a lot of the other songs on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Same with "Show Me Love" by Robin S. Had a little bit more emotion than a lot of these. Wasn't as NC.
Yeah, so those two songs in particular that you mentioned back to back, "Finally" by CeCe Peniston and "Show Me Love" by Robin S. Those songs were more heavier, leaning into the R&B side with a uncy background, but they were more R&B songs, and those were the songs that like got played on urban radio or whatever, and those were the songs that I kind of grew up with during that time. That had the oons element in it, but it wasn't as oonsy as some of the other songs. But I still like the sound for what it was, and it still like takes me back to that time period.
It's pretty good. I mean, those are like all three back to back too. "Show Me Love," "Gypsy Woman," and "Finally" on the playlist, and those definitely "Gypsy Woman" was definitely my favorite, and the other two are like they're up there. I don't know if they're like right like in the number 2 and 3 spot, but they're up there.
Okay, all right. So I want to jump into the "Gypsy Woman" real quick. The reason I thought like this song would resonate with you, not because of the TI part, but I'm glad you recognized it. But she that song was sung and co-wrote by Crystal Waters herself. So she actually is a singer and songwriter. And
which I'm vaguely familiar with her, but like looking at her like info like on just Spotify, I didn't realize she was like as decorated of a musician with like all the awards and stuff she has.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As she is. Like I've like seen snippets over the years of her from like a radio show and stuff, and like I'm vaguely familiar with the name, but like just one of those things I had no idea she had like so many Grammys and other different like musical group nominations and awards and stuff. It was I just looking at that, I was like, oh my god, she has how many?
Right? Yeah, like so like she's like low key like super duper talented.
Yeah.
And the thing about that song is a good beat, and that beat is like phenomenal. But the lyrics, she got pissed off. She was like, this song literally came out of her reality. Like there was a lady that was like worked across the building from like not work, but I guess was panhandling for across the street from where she worked. And the lady was like, "Look, yeah, I'm homeless, but if I'm going to be homeless, at least if I'm going to ask people for money, I'm going to at least look my best." So this song was based on her reality of it all. And then Crystal got mad because like people were like in the club dancing to her shit. She was like, "Are y'all not even listening to the lyrics?" So because the song was just called Gypsy Woman. So she's like, "Okay." So she went back to her record label. She's like, "Add parentheses, she is homeless." This is a song about a homeless woman. Like,
I mean, she says it. She's homeless. Like she says it like so many times in the song.
She says it, but hell, when you out there partying, that beat is fire. Like, oh, she home, hey, she homeless. Like you ain't paying attention.
I don't expect those same people to like stop and read either, though.
That's true. That's true too. But just like when you're like shopping for the song, like it is like
okay. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So that being said, I do want to play this clip for you. I told you Living Color was one of my favorite shows, and during that time, they made a parody of that song. So I'm gonna play that for you right now. It's so stupid.
Was that the actual Crystal Waters?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that was Kim Wayne's, one of the Wayne's brothers, the sister.
Well, I still don't actually know what she looks like. I didn't look up any pictures of her.
Yeah. That's funny.
Well, like sometimes I didn't like grow up watching Living in Color, but I assume like it's similar to SNL where they had like celebrities and stuff on.
In Living Color.
In Living Color. Sorry.
Yes.
In Living Color.
Yes. It was way funnier than SNL in my opinion, and still is. I'm about to take you down a rabbit hole of that show. But yeah, and then speaking of Crystal Waters, there was another song on the playlist from her as well, 100% Pure Love, towards the end, and that was like her follow-up single to Gypsy Woman.
It's not as much of a bop in my opinion, but it's still a good sweet song.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think I read that was like another one of her like mega hits.
Mm-hmm. It was
at the time.
Yeah, it definitely blew up. So spoiler alert: all of these songs made it to number one in multiple countries.
Oh, okay.
So I was like tracking
that checks out.
I was checking the charts on some of these songs. I was like, okay, where to peak that? Number one here, number one there, number one here, number one there, and it's like, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna go back up the place a little bit. I want to talk about Pump Up the Jam.
So that one technically isn't 90s. It's on the cusp though. It's 89 when that came out. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
If you had not told me that, I would have never once doubted that it was 90s
1000%.
because it's again just so quintessentially 90s. This was, like I said at the top, this was I think the one, at least the one that I'm aware of, the one Belgian. Belgian. Doubted myself there. Yeah, the one Belgian group on the playlist, which was surprising. But then also after a few seconds of letting that sit in, I was like, no, that totally checks out.
Yeah, 1000%.
It's 100%.
So the actual the female vocalist, her name was Ya Kid K. YA Kid K. And she grew up like she's from the Congo in Africa, moved to Belgium, then moved to the States for a minute, and then like picked up hip hop and brought it back to Belgium. And so that's her on Pump Up the Jam doing the vocals and everything.
So obviously I was familiar with the song because it's another one of these songs that's just like ubiquitous and is used, has been used, will be used, is used all over the place, everywhere, all the time. But one place that has just cemented it in my head is there's this show called there's two different series and they're like kind of comedic, but it's like Kunk, C-U-N-K. It's like Kunk on Britain and Kunk on Earth, and there's just like fake like female reporter character they made called Philomena Kunk.
You know what?
You may have seen clips of this
show
because that's several years old at this point.
Yeah.
It's just so funny if you like dry British sense of humor, which is like right up my alley. I've seen the whole thing. But anyways, they make a point every single episode. They will have like a point where it's like, and they did, these ancient people we're looking at did blah, 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 much like the group Technotronic revolutionized the music world with their 1989 hit Pump Up the Jam. And then it'll play like 30 seconds of pump up the jam, pump it up.
Yes, 1000%.
So I was just thinking of that like all this last week listening to this playlist.
Yes, definitely that one. And there was something else about that song too. I was gonna I put in my notes. I'm trying to remember where it's at. But it was said to believe that there was another song on here that actually inspired Pump Up the Jam. There it is. Good Life by Inner City. And that came out in 88 technically. But again, it's so 90s sound. It just kind of just continued on. But that came out before that, and it's said to believe that that song inspired Technotronic's Pump Up the Jam. Because it's like the way it was set up production wise or whatever. So
well, that one's fun. Just you can kind of tell that they are not American, at least because they have like slight accents on how they like vocalize. Pump up the jam.
Yeah, I talk.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, well, really, this is kind of a last minute ad by You Bet the Power by Snap.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that song I forgot about until when I was doing my research, and like it was like, oh, you recommend it. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that song. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta throw this on there. And then I threw that on there, and it was a pivot. And it was one of those things where I heard it, but my memory of the song sounded different than the version that's on here now, which is fine. I get it, memory and all that good stuff. But the story behind that song is crazy.
Let's hear it.
What had happened with that one, that song also set another precedent because it's a little thing called clearing samples in the music industry. And they did not clear those samples. They made the song and they were just like, oh, we like this. No. We like this. And got good play in the club, good feedback, and they just ran with it and just threw it out there. So the sample of I got the power, like that sample was from a singer named Jocelyn Brown. Then on top of that, they also Milli Vanilli Martha Wash as well. So they stole Jocelyn Brown's vocals for I Got the Power. Then the lady that's singing, who added extra vocals to that song, her name is Penny Ford. They didn't give her any credit for it. They just stole her vocals, that demo vocals or whatever. But this is also around the same time that Milli Vanilli got caught, and Penny Ford was signed to the same label as Milli Vanilli. So allegedly they couldn't find her. But then when Milli Vanilli fucked up, they miraculously got a hold of her. It was like, hey, can we give you credit for this? Because we're not trying to get caught up in this mess.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
It's so funny how that works. Like it takes somebody else's mess for you to realize, like, okay, all right, I'm about to get busted. Let's make this right. So yeah, so the rapper on that song was a guy named Turbo B. So that's what happened with the whole Snap part or whatever. And the other song from Snap that's on the playlist, Rhythm is a Dancer.
Rhythm is a Dancer.
The vocals on that one was done by a lady named Tia Austin. And Turbo B rejected the song, period. Like he didn't like the song at all. But ultimately it got good feedback in the club. So he like threw a verse on there and then he's like, fine, I'll throw a verse on a stupid song. And the song ended up winning like best-selling single of the year in 1992. So it just kind of goes to show you when you're in the music, sometimes you don't know what the fans gonna gravitate towards. Sometimes at that moment you're not really feeling it, but it turns out to be like a mega hit because people are enjoying your music at the time.
Yeah, you never know. Just because you're having a bad day, not enjoying it,
right?
It'd be someone else's favorite thing ever.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so speaking of, can we address the 90s rap and all these songs?
Okay,
we're gonna address that at all.
Okay. So
it's really hard to look at this without like what's the opposite of rose tinted glasses, man? That's what I got right now.
Beer goggles. 1000% beer goggles. Okay, so this is definitely early rap where it was supposed to be aggressive and it's super New York, West Coast, but the cadence, everybody sounded the same. And I just wasn't a big fan of Freedom Williams, number one, because he sounded like a knockoff Ice-T. And then everybody else kind of tried to emulate that sound. So it was just, I go in the club like I'm doing. I'm like, okay.
It's like not pleasant to listen to, I feel like.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But it's the early years of the genre for sure. But early-ish, because hip-hop was around for a minute, but it was.
I was saying, like, NWA had been around for a good while at this point.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
That's true, but I mean, can you imagine NWA on a dance track like this? But yeah, it's just.
It would have been amazing. I don't know what you're trying to insinuate, but that would have been awesome.
It would have been, but I don't know how I feel about that. Like you can't scream like "fuck the police" into like "fuck the." Like just I don't know. I mean, there's probably a mix out there for it right now, but
I mean, like you how you keep it in is you just do it on the drop.
True.
Don't. Fuck the police. Don't. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Touche. You're right. I concede. But yeah, the rap was pretty trash. For the most part, it's just something to add on there.
Because like it's just going back, it's just we've talked about other rap, like the Tech 9 episode. He started in the 90s. Tupac and Biggie started late 80s of the 90s. So like I know good rap was around. It's just something about I was thinking about this probably way too much, but I think maybe just something about like the dance genre, the more EDM genre, especially of this era.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, like the beat dominated period. It doesn't matter what you were singing about. The whole point of the music in this time frame, every song on this playlist can be boiled down to this crazy bass heavy oomsy kind of beat with a powerful melodic chorus. Everything else could be whatever you want to say in between that. So as long as you got like a crazy hook and somebody belting their heart and soul out, it's like, okay, that's all I need to hear. Like nobody even knows the rest of I got the power other than I got the power. Literally, that's it. CNC factory, machine factory, whatever, a music factory. Everybody dance now. Whatever else he's rapping about, nobody gives a shit. All we know is everybody dance now. That's all we care about. So that's basically what this whole sound boils down to. And to me, that's with me being a music focused person more so than lyrics, even though I did go into this, listen to the lyrics as well. And I knew for a fact you were going to cringe. I knew you really were going to cringe at what's the name? The other song with Zelma Davis. I'm surprised you didn't throw that song.
Well, okay, so this does tie back into that like first day and a half or so where I was like, the few times like the rap would start to come on, right? Initially I'd be like, oh yeah, some rap, even though it's 90s rap, like here's something lyrically for me to listen to. And then just every time I'd be like,
like this ain't it.
Well, that was something to listen to. That's for sure.
Like, nah, fam, this ain't it.
Yeah.
But it still is a good time. I guess before we kind of start wrapping things up, I do want to give like a quick honorable mention of like some not good, but interesting stories from some of these songs and some of the artists. Let's start with like LaBouche. So they were a male-female duo. The lead singer, her name was Melody Thornton, and then the rapper in the group, his name is Lane McRae, I believe. Both of them kind of got together in '95. Oddly enough, Melanie, unfortunately, she's passed. She died in a plane crash in 2001. But when she was focusing on her career, she was here in the States and was not really making it big out here. But then her sister was in Germany, and like it was like, hey, just come over here. Like I got connections. Like I'm networking with people. Come over here. So she literally left the United States, went to Germany with $15 to her name, and went out there.
Oh wow!
And just gave it one last shot, and then blew up like musically over there. And then she met Lane while he was stationed in the Air Force, and he recorded his rap for "Be My Lover" while he was still stationed there. So, and then they kind of just like, okay, sure, whatever. And then next thing you know, the song like blew up in Italy and like then took over the rest of Europe. So just kind of just shows that like, if you have a passion for something, you have a love for something, don't give up on it. Just keep pushing. Obviously within reason, but don't let it go.
So is the guy in that duo? Is he like the producer as well? Just to make sure I understand correctly.
No. Like they had another producer, but he's just a rapper.
Okay.
So he's the rapper,
Okay.
and then Melanie, she was the singer. And they had another producer or whatever.
I didn't know if he also made the produced the beat or not.
As far as I know, from what I could tell, he didn't do any production wise. But I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's just like the fact that she literally like flew across the country with like $15 to her name and like gave it one last
across
shot
the world.
Across the world. It was like, I guess. And then, now I'm blowing up out here singing live. When
I'm famous,
like tearing up like Europe by storm.
I hear that's what happens when you move to Germany. You just get famous, man. That's what happens.
Famous or infamous? One of those words.
True.
We're gonna leave that there. The last one I want to throw in here. So this playlist ranges technically from like 1988 through 1998, actually. So one of the most later EDM dance songs that was released during this time, not one of in general, but for this playlist specifically, was Sonique's "It Feels So Good." That song blew my mind, honestly. So I didn't know anything about Sonique. How I discovered her was back in the day, and the statute of limitations had passed when I was making mix CDs for people back in high school. So this chick, like this girl, she was like, "Hey, can you make a CD with this song on it?" I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I would like go through the CD, go through the songs or whatever. And then I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Do you spell this right? What's a Sonic?" He was like, "Nah, fool, it's Sonique." I was like, "Sonique? Okay. Like, what is this? Like, is this the right song?" And I played like part of it. She's like, "Yeah, that's it. That's it." And I was like, "Okay, this is weird." And then I let the song finish downloading because this is when it took days to download or whatever. And then so once I finally heard the song all the way through, I was like, "This is dope. Like, this is cool. I like the vibe of the song." So then I started researching Sonic a little bit more, and come to find out, she herself is a DJ. So she's a DJ overseas in London, in UK or whatever. And I saw a couple interviews with her. She is quintessential European, no filter, don't give a fuck, like just literally says what's on her mind. Bald headed, short, like black chick or whatever, and was just like,
love it,
just like
crazy.
Like I loved it. So and I love her music. So, and the fact being that like that she is a DJ herself, and she's still out there DJing to this day. Like she'll go and do like pop up and like DJ and stuff. But the fact that the DJ is such a talented singer as she is, like it's crazy. Like this song shows her range, but there's other songs where she like goes all the way off vocally, and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. Like for you to actually be a DJ and can sing this good is like amazing to me. So
I will say, listening through the playlist, that song, especially because like I don't know, up to that point, like it's really the last, like starting with that song, the last 6 songs or so on the playlist, I was not like as familiar with. Like I might have heard them in passing somewhere, but they weren't like as ubiquitous as like Everybody Dance Now or Pump Up the Jam, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I would be listening through the playlist and it would get to "It Feels So Good" by Sonique, I didn't really spend a lot of time trying to like think about what exactly, but I do remember several times being like, this one's different. And I would check to make sure that I hadn't like, several times I did this where I was like, I'd have it like playing while I was doing something else. And this song would come on and I would check to see if it just auto played off the playlist on like another song that was like recommended, but was like not on the playlist, because it's like, it has some quality about it. That's like, I don't know. It's a little bit, it's not like necessarily better or worse, though oftentimes I did like it more than the other songs. Honestly. But it's, I don't know, it's just cut from a different cloth, just slightly. It's still obviously still 90s dance, but
yeah, like there's a quality difference, and then to me it's more airy, it's more ethereal, if you would.
Which were you saying it came out in 98? Maybe, probably, I would assume at least had a big part of that, because it had 10 years from Pump Up the Jam ish to like refine that quintessential 90s dance sound that's in the rest of all these songs on the playlist.
Absolutely, definitely that.
So it kind of makes sense, but yeah, definitely that one definitely stood out on the playlist. Just listening through, for just being like, I don't know, more refined. It's just a little bit extra.
It's extra, but it's also like it has a little emptiness to it. So like everything else is like aggressive, oonks, 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 oonks. And I strategically put that towards the middle to kind of give you like a little reprieve from the oonks, oonks, but still be in the
Mm-hmm.
oonks, oonks era, but kind of like, okay, I can breathe. I've been oonks, oonksing for like the past 10 songs. I need a moment to like recover and then pick up the oonks, oonks a little bit and then kind of, chill out, for the rest of the playlist. So that's how I structured it. One of the last things that I wanted to talk about real quick, just a little brief little moment I thought was kind of interesting. Finally by CeCe Peniston.
Mm-hmm.
That song was originally like a poem that she wrote, and that was her first ever song she ever wrote when she was 21. And then
I love
then
that.
that song became like her biggest hit to date. And she is a former beauty queen. She won Miss Black Arizona. Which
I do remember reading that about her because she was another one that I was just because she shares my sister's name. I was like, oh, I got to learn all I can. What all can you tell me, Spotify?
It was like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah, she won Miss Arizona in like 89 or something, 88, and then like 91 or 2, right? Something like that.
Yep.
The song came out.
Yep. So a lot of these songs, like I said, came out in 90, like 89 through 98, and it's a good time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would. It just kind of, for me, it kicks me in the feels of the nostalgia, number one, first and foremost, and then secondly, it's just again a good vibe. Like picking up right after the disco episode, segueing right into this is like this is I wouldn't say the evolution, but it's more like a mutation of disco, and kind of became like its own thing.
It's definitely the evolution as far as like what people are dancing to in this era.
Yes.
Like disco during the 70s, if you went, I mean, that I'm sure that wasn't like the only like dance club around, because that would be crazy. But the vast majority, from what I know, seemed to like whenever it was in its heyday, at its peak, like most dance clubs, you were going out dancing, you'd go to dance disco. I feel like in the 90s, if you went out dancing, no matter where you went, several of these songs were going to be played.
Yeah. And the crazy part to me is like a lot of these songs are still being played, either still being played or being sampled and remixed, just like the Slaughterhouse, the Slaughterhouse song, My Life or whatever. Like how they turned that song into that, which I heard the Slaughterhouse song and I was like, this song's familiar. I can't put my finger on it. Where have I heard this before? And then I think I was watching some movie or whatever, and then the credits were playing, and then Rhythm of the Night came on afterwards during the credits. I was like, that's where I heard
this is the rhythm of the night.
Yeah. No. Yep. So it was just like, it's just crazy to me. So like these songs, love them or hate them, definitely played a pivotal part in music culture to this day. And here we are in 2024, still looking back on these songs with part beer goggles and part rose tinted glasses. But I guess if you like rose flavored beer, you're the kind of person that would enjoy this playlist. So, if you enjoyed this episode, or if you feel some kind of way about some of the songs on the playlist, feel free to tell us what you think. Thank you for hanging out with us. Our website is attheplaylist.com. You can show your support by following us on Instagram, YouTube, and on Patreon at patreon.com/attheplaylist. Until next time, keep on oonsing.
Keep on oonsing. Bye.
Bye.
Black Giraffe made this.